WTF, welcome to Funkatopia. I hope everybody is doing fantastically well. I am your host, Mr. Christopher. Tonight we have a very, very special guest. He's been on the show before, so it's really, really cool that he's coming back on. The one and only Matt, Dr. Fink, is going to be with us this evening. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to chat it up. Yes, he's back. Drummer extraordinaire and ribbed for your pleasure. Michael Plant.
Yes. In your face. Yes. Ribs. Absolutely. Yes. Anything involved with ribs, I'm into it. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to come on.
No.
Get me up there, bro.
I really had to like I wrote that down last night. I said, I'm gonna introduce him like that.
That's all right.
I laughed when I saw it. I was like, oh,
yeah, we're all adults here, man. Plus that's not that racy.
Lisa says co-host. I mean, technically he's here. He's hosting along. Yeah, man.
I'm taking up real estate, so I guess that means something.
Yeah, man. Kate Eddie's listening from Melbourne, Australia. That's nice. Nice.
I love Melbourne, Australia. Yes, man. I haven't been there in many years.
I've never been there.
Hi, Kate.
Tonight, we have a very special guest that I am very excited to have back on the show. I think Prince fans were obviously introduced to Dr. Fink when he appeared on the back of the cover of this amazing album, Dirty Mind. Even though he was working behind the scenes before this even. But while Prince played and performed most of the instrumentation on this album, Dr. Fink did play keyboards on Head and Dirty Mind, and then also on Controversy, Jack You Off also. And of course, as you know, he then would become an integral part of Prince's band, The Revolution, as part of not only the touring band, but also in Prince's legendary film, Purple Rain. You know him. You love him. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt, Dr. Fink.
Yay!
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, how are you?
Hi, you guys.
You doing good?
Look at that.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's happening here. I can't get you big, so we're just gonna keep you. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good these days after having a few little minor mishaps recently, but I'm fine.
What mishaps can you share?
Well, yeah. I was playing a golf at a Top Golf facility in early February, and I've never been to any of those. Somebody thought it'd be fun to go there, and I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I haven't played golf in over a year and a half, I think, even in real life playing golf. And so I did pretty well. And like right towards the end of the game, I twisted wrong my right leg or did something, and I tore a muscle on the inside of my right thigh. And I've never done that in my life. I've never injured a muscle like that. And it hurt a lot.
Man, that's the worst.
But as they say, Kinahora, it's all healed now. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad. Well, you said a couple. So was that one? Was there something else?
No, that's it. Just
okay. It was worth.
Oh well. It was worth. The norovirus hit me also in January. I got the norovirus.
Oh, jeez. Well, what the heck?
How bad did it get?
It was going around like crazy. Ooh. It still kind of is, but it's better now. I met people that had norovirus, COVID, and the flu in succession in January. They all got sick. People just, it's one of those winters with all these bugs.
Oh my gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Well, I mean, it's going around. Yeah. I know there was concern about the bird flu being a thing. I'm glad that so far it's not. But we'll see. We're gonna just keep on working. I did think about you today because I normally go over like the music history, what happened this day in music and whatnot. And I happened to see that today is the 45th anniversary of the release of Lips Incorporated single Funky Town. which was released on this day, March 11th, 1980. And I heard that I don't know why I didn't know this, that you used to work, or you did some work with Lips Incorporated. What's that story?
All he did is he had me come in on the 4th album or something like that he had out. And
Okay.
he had me play on a song called Funk 108. That's all I ever did for Stevie Greenberg back then. It was like about 1981 or 2-ish, I think. 80,
Wow.
80. It was after Funky Town was a hit. It was the album after Funky Town. I played on that record.
Yeah.
Just one song though.
Yeah, it was Lips Incorporated.
He just wanted to have I'm sorry, what?
It was 4. That was the name of that album, was 4.
Hold on, you're breaking up, guys. I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry.
Something's
Can you
going
hear me
on
now?
with the audio.
Are you there? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you. I have good Wi-Fi here. I don't know why it was screwing up. It could be maybe it's Starlink.
Do you live in like Deep Haven or somewhere? Or maybe I shouldn't ask this on the air. Sorry.
I live on a mountaintop on high, above the fray.
Okay,
beyond
so you get good internet. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in Minneapolis. I'm in a suburb south of Minneapolis. Take your pick.
I'm gonna pick
Hopkins.
Yeah, I'll pick Hopkins. I'll pick Excelsior.
No, but I'll tell you one thing. I grew up in St. Louis Park, which is right next to Hopkins.
Yeah, all right.
Which is an inner early ring suburb, like right after World War II, Minneapolis, the city expanded outward into the suburbs, right? And they built all these cute little houses for veterans returning from the war. And when you go to St. Louis Park, you see all these cute little houses. They're little square, but little ramblers everywhere. And then as time went on, people kept expanding and adding. Sometimes they'd put a second level on, or they'd add on to the back into the backyard with more stuff. Anyway, I grew up in a house like that, except that my parents' house was built in 1958, which was the year I was born. They literally moved in the year I was born, and it was again a cute little rambler. Little bigger than some of those other ones, but not much bigger, but nice. And then when I was about 8, they got a different house. They went to a bigger place, and then that's where I lived until I moved out. Not far from that house, actually, only a couple miles away in a different area of St. Louis Park.
Gosh, it's just amazing when you think about like your childhood, and not just with you, but I mean, just in general, if you think about all the houses that you lived in growing up. I mean, there's probably some lucky few out here who's like, I've lived in the same house all my life, but
only 2
for
only
most
2
of
houses.
us, really only 2.
Yeah, growing up. Yeah.
Man, we were all over the place. I lived in little places like what you're mentioning, lived in the projects a few times.
Wow.
I've done all, bounced around everywhere. I mean,
sure, some
when
people do.
Yeah, single. I mean, when you're, only child, single mom, she goes where she can, keep afloat.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
You stay where you keep afloat.
Like Fink, yeah. I mean, your mom and dad stayed together like mine did, so we were a little more stable.
But there was a blip in my childhood when I was hit about the age of 13 and a half, 14-ish, I think. My parents got separated for about a year and a half.
Oh, so you didn't feel what it was like to go back and forth a bit.
There was a moment where I was concerned they were going to get a divorce, but they didn't, and they stayed together. But they didn't. Nice. I grew up in all the members of the revolution, we all came from homes that had some little bit of turmoil here and there, a little bit of dysfunction going on. All of us did, including Prince, and probably he had more than we did.
Right.
So we all had that, so we could relate to that, and it affected everybody. Sure. Some people have like super stable homes where the mom and dad stay together all the time, and they don't stray from the marriage at all, and don't get divorced, and they stay in the same house all their lives. Whatever. Some don't do that, but we all had that. And everybody, actually, all the parents from the revolution got divorced except mine.
Wow.
Yeah. And when go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it seems like also really typical for musicians in general too. I think, I think music is an escapism. And I think a lot of people that have turmoil or any type of, it's where we go.
But when I grew up where I grew up, the people, in that area, just actually throughout the United States. At that time, statistically, and I don't know if it's the same now or not, I haven't checked lately, but divorce was about 50-50 at that time in the 70s. I remember I grew up in a neighborhood where at least 50% of the adults were divorced or got divorced.
I think that's
yeah,
that's still a stat. I
still
think
and that's a national stat still. Okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's because it seems like the last people always say that. That seems like a go-to statement. Like 50% of marriages end in divorce. That seems like something I've heard currently.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a mess. But
I've heard it's worse than that.
What's that?
I've heard the numbers are worse.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so are there any other interesting topics you wanted to address?
Sure,
right, with me, like specifically about other like personal issues that I brought up.
All right.
I'm proud that I'm able to get stories out of you that have not been told before.
Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet, man. You know that Netflix documentary that they shelved? Oh my God. Woo!
Oh wow! Well, what do you got to say about that? Here. You want to say something?
I never got to see it. I never got to see it.
Well, neither did I. Did you wanna?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Some people got to see it. If you know what I mean.
Were you interviewed for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Michael refused to be interviewed. And you were okay. So he got a different vibe from the interviewees than obviously you did. How did you feel?
True. That's not necessarily true.
No. Nobody warned me about the interview much, except Wendy kind of did. She kind of let on that. Well, he interviewed me, and it was a long interview, and it was a bit rough, and blah 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 blah. But she spoke her truth.
Okay.
And apparently, maybe they didn't like some of that truth. I don't know. But apparently there were some, the women that were involved with Prince. He's a human being. We all have and we just talked about divorce and how people have trouble staying together. And, Prince didn't have good examples of parenting growing up. And so these women spoke out on some things, and it's in there. The New York Times had an article, big, their Sunday magazine published that if people are interested, but there were a few women that did that. And I feel bad about all of it. And it's not cool. And, but he's gone now. He's a human being. We have to forgive him. He's moved on to the other side. Yeah. He's there. And, I feel terrible that, none of us is perfect. And I think they should put the documentary out, warts and all, and he won't get canceled. Maybe some people will cancel him, but his fans won't. I've spoken to the fans, and they just say, you know what? Nothing he did that was negative that way would prevent me or stop me from loving him as an artist. So that's where I think possibly the people that are controlling that may be not thinking as clearly about that as they should be.
I mean, you think of all the negativity and stuff of like the documentaries that have come out about James Brown and about, the list just goes on and on.
Rick James. Have you seen the
Rick James? Yeah.
His daughter introduced it and sanctioned it. All his stuff. And it was all out there anyway. All the stuff that he got in trouble for was already in the public domain. So what? But there were these other, like with Prince, this is stuff that was unknown and was kind of hidden, except the inner circle knew about it. Yeah. I certainly didn't know anything until I was gone for many years. During my tenure there, I could see a few things happening. I could notice how he was, he was playing musical women, as they say, like musical chairs. But, it's just like, I didn't know about that. The other stuff that was, the mean stuff. So I don't know. I feel bad. Makes me sad. It hurts his legacy, really, in a lot of ways. But he's a human being. I mean, there's so many men out there that have done worse to women. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't excuse it, the behavior.
Yeah. I get it, but the point of that being is that there's so many negative documentaries on some of these musical heroes, and they don't get canceled. They're just not. It's just because it's still the mystique of it. It's who they are. It's the totality of who they are.
I think Well, Michael Jackson, I think, got hit a bit
That was
because
hard. Yeah.
that one, because being a pedophile or being accused of pedophilia, whether it's true or not, I mean, there was never any true proof other than just kids talking about it, and then you tend to go, yeah, it must be true, and he paid people off. So at the same time, again, another extremely psychologically damaged human being, and
Yeah.
and of course, we hate to see people behave that way and suffer and hurt other people that way. And it's sad that they didn't find help psychologically. Michael Jackson didn't, or people didn't intervene sooner with him. So that's all I can say about it. But
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, all that stuff when it comes out, if it's true. I hate to. I'm not going to convict him because it wasn't totally proven.
Well, it went to a court. It went to a court of law, and he was never proven guilty of any of that. So
exactly,
it was shocking to me that HBO was even entertained the, putting that documentary out with all these really hard accusations
with the kids speaking out.
Yeah,
it's really something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But
sorry,
what?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
My feeling is this. I mean, it's doing a full-on warts and all documentary about somebody who's already gone and incapable of defending themselves. I don't know if that's a fair fight.
Well, I've read articles about that too. I mean, I agree. It's not a fair fight.
And also, I guess I would say, it's one thing to speculate, but once the cat's out of the bag.
Well, then edit it if you don't like what's in there. And the women that accused him of all that stuff are still going to speak out like they do. And look at Trump, all the women that have spoken out about him, and nothing, it all slides off of him, and he pays people off, and it's just, awful.
Yeah, it can be done. It's just, I don't know. It's I mean, what do you think is so? You're saying
the fans want to see his life. They want to see everything. They do.
Right.
I've talked to people about it, and if the accusations are there, I've talked to people who said, I don't care. I don't care about that.
Yeah, but those are also people who they don't know what they don't care about.
But I'm just saying, let the fans be fans. There are people who still listen to Michael Jackson probably a lot and don't care about his past.
R. Kelly's alive and nobody will dare put his records on. So you can't tell
me
he
got canceled.
Where this could be a transformational moment, man.
You think R. Kelly got totally canceled then because of what he did?
He's singing from jail.
But
on people's phones and whatnot.
All right, well, I haven't been keeping track of him. But that guy, I mean, he was doing things really bad, violent, underage slavery. I mean, what he did was way beyond the kind of alleged abuse that Prince may have perpetrated. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying how people react to things. It's like, you can't really cancel Michael Jackson because his music's too good. R. Kelly, I guess, because his music is particularly urban.
Yeah.
But it's a little easier to just sort of shrug that off, I guess, at least for if you're not black, because there's still black people who play R. Kelly records.
Yeah, of course. Of course. They, sure. But I mean, come on, it's like, anyway, don't get me started.
Yes. I'm not trying to get you started, man. I'm just saying, it's every aspect of your life is not anybody else's business, man.
No, but if people are talking in a documentary about your life and it's there and they have the free reign to put it out there because they signed a contract for that.
Yeah, but there were no documentary. You want to tack on 3 hours and say,
that's what. Well, if
now all of a sudden,
if it was 6 hours under contract, then he should edit it. He should have been edited before anything happened, before any news was put out there. But those women still would have talked to the New York Times and wherever else, and those stories have been out there for years anyway.
Yeah, okay. Well,
a lot of them
stuff that I never heard before, Matt. Maybe I'm just in a different part of the universe than you, because I keep hearing things that I had no idea about.
Well, yeah, of course, me too. But there were a few things I did know, and I was told about later that you weren't told about.
Okay.
Well,
right.
here's an interesting segue. Didn't you do some work with P. Diddy?
Brief moment in time.
Why are we going there?
Michael was like, "Wait, what?"
What are we?
Yeah, Dr. Fink did some work with P. Diddy. It was on that TV show, right?
Back in 2008. Yes, it was called Making the Band. It's called Making the Band on MTV. And I no wait, hold it. I met somebody. No, get this. It was sheer. Wait a minute, stop. I fell into it. It was sheer happenstance. I was in New York. I was in New York City in 2007, working with another friend of mine who was in town from Belgium, another artist, Chris Vanderheyden, who I'd been working with since 2004 and 2005, working on projects together, writing together. And I went to see him and his producer friend in New York. And then we went out one night and I was contacted by somebody that said, "Hey, you're in town, blah, blah, blah. Oh, cool. Yeah, you want to meet so-and-so at Murder Inc. Records?" Who was Seven Aurelius, who's a producer back then. You know, he
that
did
should have been your first red flag.
Yeah, he produced Ashanti and some other people. Anyway,
all right, well, yeah, I got you.
Ja Rule and people like that. Okay,
Yeah.
So I said, sure, why not? I'm a curious guy. I'll go to the studio at Murder Inc. Records. Why not? So I went over there, hung out, and then that guy, Seven Aurelius, got hooked up with P. Diddy the next following year, and then he invited me to be on the show with him and be a co-producer for his team on that show. So I went in there and was one of the guys on the team, and I was on camera for, the episode or two, I can't remember. And that was it. Worked on a song, showed us working on writing a song and blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much. And then, the following year, was it 2010 or 09? I can't, not long after that. It was like the following year, I was in New York playing with another artist. I was working with another guy who I played on his record and was playing his debut CD party, or CD release event in New York. And Seven Aurelius was in town, of course, working with P. Diddy on something. He knew I was in town. He said, "Hey, come over to P. Diddy's studio right near Broadway, right in the heart of Broadway, to work on this project with me, do some session work." I said, "Great." I get there. I'd met P. Diddy back in Florida when we were doing the MTV thing. But then this time he was there again. And I talked to him for a little bit, and then I worked with Seven. Diddy wasn't involved with this project much. He was just there working in another room in his studio. And then when I was getting ready to leave the next day, P. Diddy offered to keep me in New York and keep working further on more stuff. And I almost did it, but I couldn't because my father needed emergency hip replacement surgery.
Oh boy.
So I had to get home. I was scheduled to go home anyway that day. And then they tried to get me to stay, and I couldn't. And that was it. So I went home, helped my father, of course. My mother was going through some health issues too, so it was difficult for her to really even help with that much. And so that was it. And I never heard from P. Diddy again. But Seven Aurelius, I did. I worked with Seven a little bit more after that, but that was it. Go ahead.
Were you shocked when all these allegations and all these things started coming to light about him? Were you like, "Oh, holy crap"?
Yeah, I was shocked actually. But looking back on that, there was a moment where when I was in Miami working at his, like when we did the TV show, they had us in a separate facility which had studios in this big house. It was like the whole house was three or four, like three studios in this one house, including a separate pool house with a studio in there. And that's where we had our group, was in the pool house, right? And they were filming and we were all competing against each other on this ridiculous show to see who could make the best song for the best artist and blah 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 blah. Do you remember that artist Danity Kane? You ever heard of them?
Yeah.
They were there. Well, working when we were there. Anyway, so long story short, before we went to that studio, the first day I came into Miami to work on the project, they took me over to P. Diddy's house, which wasn't too far away. So we went to his house. He had a pool house with a studio set up in his pool house. They had me in there working with another team the night I came in, working on some stuff and writing and playing. And then P. Diddy
put you in the
wait.
Put you in the pool house. What the?
Yeah. And then P. Diddy comes in to meet everybody, right? And he's talking to me, and we're hanging for a little while, and then he left, and then I had to leave and go back to the condo where they had me staying nearby, and I went, okay, and actually, you know what? They put me up in Trump Tower for one night before they put me in the condo because the condo wasn't ready yet, so they put me up in the Trump Tower in Miami. Anyway, long story short, I'm walking to go get my car, and I'm walking by Diddy's house, and I look through the window, and he's in this kind of big room, and he's in a white robe with two women in white robes hanging out with him. Like right. they're getting ready to get down to business.
Well, as long as you
stories ain't nothing, man. I'm retiring from podcasting, man. Fink just blew up every story I ever had in my whole career.
There you go.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Well, as long as you didn't get paid in baby oil.
See, man, I knew you were going to go there, man. I was like, which one of us is going to crack first on the baby oil?
It's going to be me.
I'm glad it was you, man.
It's going to be me. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be me. What was I going to say? Oh, all right. So let's try to get it back on track. I guess this is fantastic.
You threw Trump in there and everything, man.
Oh, but this is
my stories.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right, man. I'm telling you.
Right, man. Yes.
That's my Diddy highlight of my career.
That's all right. Mine was not as cool as that at all. I met him at Daddy's house, which was that studio. One time I was there visiting a friend of mine who was editing the vocals for Jennifer Lopez's first record, and he said it took 6 weeks of auto-tuning and editing her vocals.
So she can't sing. So she can't sing either.
Well, hey. Okay. She was giving it her best, I imagine.
So she's pitchy, but she can carry a tune.
I don't
know. I'm kidding.
Apparently not.
All right, man. I'm just saying. Okay. And Diddy was. He took me in the control room. Diddy was in there talking to somebody. Hey, now, all right then. Yeah. Oh, you played for Prince, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, Playboy. All right. Licked his lips. That was it. And I rolled out.
All right, Playboy. All right, Playboy. He's already projecting his own persona on you with that Playboy shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God.
The other time he was at Record Plant, and you know how I can't remember which one. The one there's a location. There's a record plant where you can see in the lounges, like there's windows, and you can see who's in the lounge. He was in there getting his hair cut, like where everybody could see it. Just some dude with the clippers, and he's just showing out for everybody who walked by.
Oh my God.
Anyway, he got the two women and everybody they want to get into something and Trump Tower and you gotta Fink. My stories they're not adding up no more. I gotta go have some crazy stuff happen to me. Just to keep
and not only that, but they had a really great Israeli DJ on our team that flew in from Israel to be on our team. I'd never met an Israeli DJ before. He was huge in Israel, this guy. I wonder if he's
was he hot?
over there.
Did he have the right? Was he?
He was good, but he kept calling me after he went back to Israel to play on his stuff because he wasn't capable of doing like really cool technical keyboard riffs like the doctor can do. You know what I mean?
Well, you have a thing.
Okay.
There, I mean,
yeah. Nah, I'm okay. I'm average. I'm an average player.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I'm good. I'm decent.
No, because a lot of people don't know this story, and I want to talk about it now because you've told this story before and a couple people have heard it, but I've seen people talk about the solo in When Doves Cry, and I've seen it. It's been brought up a few times recently, I guess, with the re-release of the Purple Rain movie, which we'll talk about in a second. But for those that don't know, this part of the story is that you were actually 2x'd on this solo because, well, I'll let you tell the story, but for those who don't know what I'm talking about this right here. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Let's see. That solo there. Can you tell the story about that solo? Because there's more to that story about the differences between how you played it, how Prince played it.
Can I say something before he says anything?
Well,
sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I've always thought that he slowed the tape down and played that solo. Because some of those turns are a little quick. You know?
Yeah. Here, I got my camera better for you now. How's that?
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually,
okay, go
Michael, you're partly correct.
It sounds like I'm like, there's something in there is like no human could get that kind of. It's something about the note duration and how quickly things are moving. Like something. Yeah, I suspect that he slowed the tape down for that.
Doctor, tell the story.
You didn't know that was what he did, Michael? You didn't hear about that?
Not for a fact.
You guessed correctly that he VSO'd the tape down an octave and played it half speed and then sped the tape back up.
Because a couple of those little turns, man, it's like I even watched you play it a couple times on like the and I was like, I hear what Fink's doing, and I get it because some of that's superhuman. Some of that would take, I don't know who could.
I've never, when I did it live on the Purple Rain tour, I did my own kind of version of it. I didn't play it note for note, but I got close.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Definitely. So to this day, I still do my own take on it a bit, but I still capture at least 3/4 of it in the same note structure.
Definitely. Absolutely.
But yeah, you have to be classically trained to play that, and really great players could play that solo two-handed. Like the best classical players or jazz players could play that literally up to speed and in time. And I could too if I practiced it long enough. Of course, I never had to, and I don't want to. But
yeah, no doubt.
You know what happened to me now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
I believe you have the facility.
No, you know what happened to me if I tried that now? I'd get a cramp.
Yeah, you rip a muscle.
Especially in my left hand, I get a cramp in my hand.
Yeah, especially your left. Why your left?
Because the left hand is a little more weaker than I'm a right-handed. I'm a righty. The left hand is a little less, a little funny.
Yeah. And I'm glad to see that people in the chat room are like, I didn't know that part of the story, because that's what I was seeing. I was seeing all these people making notice of the solo in When Doves Cry, but nobody was mentioning the fact that Prince slowed the song down halftime and did that solo and then resped up that particular section.
Yeah,
so it's not played at that speed.
He revealed that that he did that to me later, like 2 years after the fact. He didn't tell me right away.
So you heard it thinking.
I didn't know that part.
What did you think when you started to try to learn it, Fink?
He was in the background going, I'm gonna mess with Fink.
Oh.
I'm gonna see if he can play this up to speed like in real time after I get it this way.
Man.
and what happened the first time you heard it? The first time you heard it, what was your thought?
I went, I'm in trouble now.
Oh,
how am I gonna nail that?
Yeah,
but you know what? It's no different than playing like Bach inventions. Like I used to play when I was younger. It's like. Those are the rhythms of it, like that. So you had to play that stuff in your right hand, and
I get it, but there's something about the way the keyboard sounds, Fink. That like it's something in the way it sounds.
Do you know why? Because he recorded it probably in that other octave, and when it got sped up, it really made it sound like a high violin thing.
There's the thing happening.
Flitting about.
Like that doesn't sound. It doesn't sound. It sounded artificial.
I'm pretty sure it's an Oberheim synthesizer doing that. But anyway, that's how he did it.
Anyway, he did that with the guitar all the time. He always, so I mean, it just, for me, it was a hop, skip, and a jump. And he used to hate when I'd figure stuff out, man. He'd get so mad when I figured out that he played the first like 2-3 songs on Under the Cherry Moon soundtrack, like in one sitting. Like he played the drums first. He's like, "How did you know that?" Like he got upset. I'm like, I had spent enough time with him to figure out certain things, but he was always mad when I figured something out.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I used to go to Prince and I said, "Prince, what sound did you use on the synthesizer for that particular song?" You go, I can't reveal my secret sounds.
Yeah, to the guy who's going to play him in his band.
And they said, "What do you mean you can't reveal your secret sounds?" And I said, "Okay, I'll figure it out. You'll see."
Oh, wow.
And then I programmed it, and he went, "Good job."
All right. That's high praise from Prince. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he loved playing with
the. I'm sorry, but then he gave up the sounds eventually. But go ahead. What did you say? Go ahead, Mr. Christopher. What were you?
I was just going to add on to the fact that he loved doing those little time signatures and stuff, slowing things down and speeding things up. I mean, he did that a lot more than he let on. One of the ones that I had revealed, well, not that I had revealed, it was out there, but a lot of people weren't paying attention to it, was the song All My Dreams.
Oh, sure.
On All My Dreams, there literally is a segment in the verse that says, hear ye, one and all, the double speed playhouse is making a call. And if you take that song, you take that whole segment, that center section, and put it in Audacity or whatever sound program you have and double speed it, there literally is a whole entire conversation that when you're playing it normal, it just sounds like a slower drone, but if you double speed it, there's like a whole bunch of stuff that you hear that you wouldn't otherwise hear. And he did that a lot. He loved to hide those little gems and I mean, but it's cool. It's cool. I mean,
and that's also why his music is always interesting to listen to, because you don't always hear the same thing, not me. Like I hear different stuff all the time, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because he had so many little detailed, nuancy things in his, especially later in his career, like as he got into the late 80s, that time frame, and into the 90s, I felt like he kept layering more and more little nuancy details on his work, his music.
But can I mention one thing that always perplexed me?
Yeah.
And you probably had nothing to do with it, but on Kiss, like the marimba starts like in the second verse.
Yeah.
And then it just goes away after a couple of bars. Like, all right. Okay. It's like it's like, wow, I wonder what made him just go, okay, that's enough. Just those couple of bars. And then
well, you know what they say in production, less is more.
I guess. It's like it must have gotten in the way of something later on.
That song, and even When Doves Cry, both of those are, and even Kiss more so, are prime examples of, and Sign of the Times is like a minimalist take production wise that he did. And then it's like after that period though, things kept getting more and more complex and layered to me. Like by certain albums got way layered.
Love Sexy.
What's that?
Love Sexy is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Once it got to that, it and beyond, it got pretty. He kept expanding his palette.
Yeah, I got to imagine, being that you start, the first time that people had seen you was Dirty Mind. How first off, how did you meet Prince? Because a lot of people don't know the story.
What do you mean? What do you mean? The first time people had seen me was Dirty Mind. What do you mean by that?
The people in the Prince fans, as far as like, all of a sudden there you were on the back cover of Dirty Mind.
Oh no, don't go that far. I mean, we did the Rick James tour before that.
I'm talking about people that may have seen, people that may not have seen you live, right?
Yeah. Okay, I got it. On an album cover, you mean? I see.
Right.
the debut of the band on an album sleeve.
Yeah, but he
Right.
was in the videos. You weren't Doctor yet.
Yeah, but I was in those early videos.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah, you and
Yeah,
Bobby with the double kicks.
Yeah, he was.
But,
it was a
but
prisoner.
you're right. Yeah, but we weren't formally like introduced as a group on an album like that. You're correct in that assertion.
Right.
Yes.
Because the first two albums that preceded it, it was all Prince. Everything was Prince.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. And all of a sudden, wow, there's a band. So that's what I was referring to.
Exactly.
So it's kind of interesting that, to be able to watch that progression from, the style of music and is a lot of the songs weren't simple, but there was some simplicity to it, to kind of watch them go from that to the Love Sexy stuff, to the Sign of the Time stuff. How are you kind of, watching that progression? What is your thought process? Are you thinking he's getting into territory that I'm not going to be comfortable playing? Did you ever feel like that?
Oh, sure. There were some songs along the way that technically were definitely going to be a challenge if you wanted to try to attempt them live. Songs like "Condition of the Heart," to me, that I'd say that one, because it's like an orchestral piece and it's a feel piece. It's not like there's no click there to really guide you in the whole intro section.
Sure.
It's almost like he conducted himself in the studio and he was able to stay in tune with himself time-wise on all those parts to make them flow just right into each other. And I mean, you can recreate the verses and chorus easily on that, I'm sure. But and you could do the song live. He never attempted it though with us. He never really tried it with the Revolution. I think he knew that we might be too limited to recreate that live. Technically.
Wow.
All the parts that were layered, it probably might have been more difficult, I think, to pull it off exactly like the record.
Yeah. It's got people are wanting you to share some Rick James stories. Do you?
Oh.
I'm sure there's some of those.
Rick James stories. Yeah, well, Rick, as we all know, was a very outgoing individual and rebellious.
That's one way to put it. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
He was a rebel. But his background is so interesting. I mean, he was in Canada working with the likes of Neil Young for a while. I mean,
yeah,
he's had a really interesting career where he was like in all aspects of style and music and had an eclectic thing. And he became an excellent producer in his own right and songwriter by being under all those influences. So he grew up in a tough neighborhood. I mean, he had a rough upbringing. All these guys, but they're brilliant and they get out of that and they're successful. They're driven and they're ambitious, and and they do it. But on the road, I'll never forget. He tried to get Prince drunk and stoned right away as soon as we were on tour. He's like,
God,
you wanted to party with Prince? Come on, man, let's go smoke a joint. And Prince was back then he was completely anti-drug. I mean, if I had a vodka tonic in my hand, Prince would scold me. Back in the day, I was smoking cigarettes. He didn't like that. I was having a drink once in a while. I was smoking weed. He didn't know. And I was doing cocaine. He found out I was doing cocaine once and got really mad at me. But I quit. I quit in '85, September. I'll never forget. Cold turkey, never touched it again since. Thank you, everybody. Anyway, but in the '80s, we were all in the '80s. It was so prevalent. It was everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but I digress. Getting back to Rick James, cocaine is a wonderful drug.
Can I ask you a question first, though?
Yeah.
I would have been scared when I was working for Prince to try any of that. Like, just because I needed to have my head on, like, straight to do the job.
You got to understand, I never did drugs performing or at rehearsals, ever. Okay. That was my rule, to never go to rehearsal high on anything. And I didn't.
So then when did you do it? Because
after the show. We'd be on the tour bus and we'd be after the show, we'd have a little smoke of a little weed or something. Okay. And then the road crew would invite us into their hotel room because those guys were living on coke so they could stay awake.
Sure. So so at least somebody had a stash. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So that was what was going on there. But hey, you know, they used to put Coke in fucking Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had Coke in it at one time. Anyway,
so why can't Fink have Coke in them sometimes?
That's right.
Did you ever smoke with Rick James?
No, I didn't do any drugs with Rick. I didn't party with Rick. I didn't party with his band much. We hung out a little, but we kind of kept to ourselves a bit. It was a bit a rivalry kind of took place immediately because Rick felt threatened by Prince because Prince was like kicking butt every night. We were.
Yeah.
And they were great. He had no reason to be insecure. He was giving Prince a break. They loved us. They loved him. Case closed. Don't be jealous. Don't be mad. Let it go. Let the egos, let go of those freaking egos. Don't need it. Bullshit. Okay, so anyway, Rick got in trouble with the police like in Alabama, or I can't remember what, might have been Arkansas.
Yeah.
Not Alabama.
Somewhere black people should not get in trouble.
Well, we were playing on the Chitlin circuit, right? It's called the Chitlin circuit.
Right, yeah. It's
yes, the Chitlin circuit. Yes, brother.
It still exists. They just don't call it that anymore.
They just don't call it.
I don't mean to sound racist, but that's what they told me. We're going to do the Chitlin circuit.
Be racist.
What's a Chitlin? I never heard of such a thing. And there's a story about Chitlins, I'll tell you. Hold on.
What's a Chitlin?
Wait, it gets better. Wait, I'll get to the Chitlin story. That's coming next.
Okay.
Don't let me forget. Keep that in your head. Don't forget the Chitlin story.
Nope.
Okay, so
ready. Chitlin.
So the police show up. The police show up because we're on the Fire It Up tour, right? The Fire It Up tour. This is the tour with the Rick James album Fire It Up. The two big joints come up. People with two big joints. They're holding the joints. There's smoke coming out. The whole. First song, Fire It Up Arena lights up their joints. All you get a contact high just standing there watching the show. So anyway, police say to Rick, "Yeah, Rick, we heard you've been smoking a lot of weed, and the people are smoking weed in the audience, and you're smoking weed on stage, and it's against the law. We can't have you doing that, Rick. And if you smoke any weed on stage tonight, we're going to have to arrest you." I'm standing right there watching this Southern cop tell Rick James in that accent. Rick goes, okay, fine. We'll be careful. And that was it. He stuck to his word, but the whole arena lit up like you wouldn't believe, as always. Wow. How are they going to police that?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, this is 1980.
Yeah.
Early 1980. Okay. So I'm having food at one of these concerts backstage. I don't remember which part of the tour. We're down south. They have the buffet like they have backstage with all the food. And of course, there's chitlins there, right? In the sauce. Being from Minneapolis, I've never had a chitlin in my life.
But you've had lutefisk, haven't you?
Actually, no, I didn't try. I've never had lutefisk either, because you got to remember, I'm of the bread.
Yes,
I mean, not that I wouldn't have, but nobody offered me lutefisk. I was always told, don't eat the lutefisk; it's lousy. People discouraged me from eating lutefisk. Okay, so long story short, what was I just saying again?
We were talking about
chitlins.
The chitlins. The chitlins were there. So I got all the food, and I'm eating. I'm sitting there. I'm sitting with Des Dickerson, guitar player, and Bobby Z, and we're just eating. And I go, wow, this is really good. What is this, man? This is like noodles or some kind of noodles in a brown sauce. Sounds great, really good. I'm like, and I'm loving it. And Des starts laughing. He goes, Matt. He goes, Matt. Those are chitlins. What? Chitlins. Chitlins? What are chitlins? Oh, wait, I've heard of chitlins. What are chitlins? I've heard of that.
And then
I've heard that word. I didn't know what that was. He goes, those are pig intestines. And I go, what? And my eyes got, and I'm like, okay. Thank you very much. And then I got turned off immediately. I was like, I've been eating pig intestine.
But it was delicious before you knew what it was.
It was really good, but I'm not supposed to eat like stuff like that. I wasn't keeping kosher. It didn't matter to me. But I'm joking. These are jokes. Anyway,
I know.
As if you start with pig intestines. If you're gonna have pork, you're not gonna start there.
Oh my God.
Oh man,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Start with a chop.
So Rick James, at the end of that tour, I found out that Rick James had taken some of our keyboards with him. He stole them, literally, took them, kept them, and recorded stuff on his next record. Prince found out and got him back.
So there's been multiple versions of the story. I had the story
that's what I heard. What's true?
No, well, that's to be contested. First, Rick James tells a story in his book that he stole the keyboard, he played it, it was street sounds or that he played on.
Songs.
Did he just take one? Did he just take one of our Oberheims, one of our OBX Oberheims?
I don't remember which one it was, but anyways, he took it and then he gave it back to Prince, left it outside of his house or something with a note on it saying, thanks for the keyboards, MF whatever, and then signed it. And then I went to verify this story because I had Stone City Band, all the members of Stone City Band here. And I said, is this story true? And they say, never happened. He never stole a keyboard. We were with him all the time. How would he have done that? Blah, 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 blah. We had our stuff. He had our stuff. We had better stuff. It was like, okay, now I don't know what's true.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
It's true.
Prince told me personally to my face that happened.
Oh boy. And
that is probably as authoritative as you're going to get in, I would say, in this story. That's if Rick James said he did it and Prince said it happened.
The other dudes are just trying not to get in trouble.
Right. And speaking of the Stone City Band, I had a chance to see them a couple years ago. They did a gig. Mark Brown did a gig with them, with Mark's band, and I played on that one with them.
Oh, wow.
With the Stone City Band. It was like a special birthday event for 50th. No, what was it? His 80th birthday would have been? Some kind of like 80th birthday celebration of Rick James.
Yeah.
And it was outside of California, outside of LA, like over in the East LA area, way east.
Yeah, and they're still doing their thing. I saw them last year here. Matter of fact, did a bunch of photos. So if you guys go to facebook.com/Funkatopia, there's a bunch of photos that are up there that I took of that show. So it's it was a good show. Good show.
Okay.
But man, just speaking of touring though, Sheila E. had you done any active touring before Prince? What were you doing before Prince to get into that door and start that process?
I was playing in Midwest touring cover bands, two of them, two separate ones, each one in succession, and then Prince. So, and prior to that, see, my first band started when I was 12 and a half.
Okay.
And it was comprised of the neighborhood guys that were musicians, like literally on the same area, like within a 3-block area. And so we played with the nucleus of that group. We added another guitar player in our 10th or 11th grade year by then. But that group stayed together from 7th grade all the way through our senior year. And we were playing all around the Twin Cities when we could. And we were doing a lot of private school parties, like the ones with like high school dances. And we were always booking ourselves into all that stuff. And then after high school, I got in another group. Right before I was graduated, I went to this other group touring around the Midwest, all of the 5 states, like Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, like that, traveling around all the venues and ballrooms and clubs and stuff like that. That group was called Zachariah. They had been established for a while, and they were all cats, that were older than me, in their mid-20s or so. I was fresh out of high school. I was like 18, and I did that for about a year and a half. and then I joined another group called the Beartown Rockets, which was a bunch of guys from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, which is an eastern suburb of St. Paul, completely opposite side of town of where I grew up, from Minneapolis. The western suburb of Minneapolis to the eastern suburb of St. Paul was like a 45-minute drive from my house.
Yeah.
And they were all from there. They were all great players, and they insisted that I drive to White Bear Lake and rehearse, since they all lived there. So I was forced to drive 45 minutes each way to rehearse with these guys. But I did it because they were good, and one of the guys was a good songwriter, and I was doing some stuff with him. And then he left the group and went on to do some solo stuff in his own way. That guy's name is Will Sumner. Hi, Will. If you see this, I'm giving you a shout out. You know Will. Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Great guitar player.
Yes.
He lives out west in California now. But the rest of those guys, I lost touch with all of them after I left, and that was when I jumped off into Prince. And there was actually one other group just before Prince that wanted me to be in their band, and they were signed to RCA Records too, or Columbia. One of the two. I'm trying to remember. They were called Daisy Dillman. Do you remember them? You remember them? They were They were a very popular country rock band here in the Midwest, and they were about to go. They were about to go national. Mm-hmm. They were about to be like big backing from big label. They had great people in that group too.
That was the first round, man. Like it was them and like Doug Maynard, all these different bands.
I played with Doug a little. He'd sit in with the Beartown Rockets once in a while.
Right on, man. Yeah, okay. Yeah. There was. I mean, people think that Prince came, brought the first wave around, and it actually it was earlier than that. Yeah.
Yeah,
and people were already starting to kind of catch on that there was some talent up here.
Well, Lip Sync had their big hit, ahead of Prince, just right at the same era. And you had other groups before from the Midwest that did okay
like
too.
The Trashmen and all that.
How about Gypsy? Gypsy was based.
Jim Walsh and them.
Yeah, and the thing about Gypsy is the drummer that I brought into Zachariah from my high school band, from my childhood buddy, started our first band together. When I left to be with Zachariah, he was still, he wasn't doing something else. And then not too long after that, he came in the group because our drummer wanted to quit and be our sound man. So I said, you should get my buddy, John Neifeld, who I grew up with. He's great.
John Neifeld is who you're talking about? Okay, I know. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Okay. Great drummer.
Yes.
Fabulous drummer.
Absolutely.
So he was my childhood buddy, grew up together.
Okay.
So he came into Zachariah, and then after he was in Zachariah for about 6-7 months or so, 8 maybe, he had an opportunity to audition for Gypsy, and he got in the group. So he went on tour with Gypsy for a couple of years. That's all he lasted, though. He didn't get along with them as much.
Sometimes it's not even really how good you play.
Yes, yeah.
Aren't the Jets from up there also?
Yeah. They were based here, but they were originally from
Samoan?
Samoan, yeah, Samoa. Samoan island of Samoa, I believe, right? They're native.
The maiden name was Wolfgram?
Yeah. Yep.
WOLF, like GRAM.
Wolf. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Double M, yeah.
I played on their album too, by the way.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, I always thought that was like Ricky and Paul Peterson and all of it.
Yeah, they were on it. They were all over that. And I played on a little of it too.
Okay.
A little bit of keyboard work, yeah.
Right on, man. I like the Jets. I thought it was strong material, man.
They were good.
Yeah.
Definitely a good band. Now, when you go on tour with Prince, that's really the first time that you had, I mean, talking about jumping right onto a speeding train, it's just like you're just going like right into it. Sheila E. had told a story about when she went on tour. I mean, she's toured with other bands. I don't know why this happened to her, but when she went and toured for Purple Rain, when she got to the end of that tour, she ended up owing money because she didn't realize that everything they were handing her and, whatever else was, she was having to pay for this, that, and the other.
Oh, all the fur coats and whatnot.
or whatever, all the different types of things that happened. Did that happen with you when you were on tour? Did you ever, I know if I was the age that you were when you did that, I would have blown through. I was so irresponsible and ridiculous.
In other words, did I blow my money?
or yeah, I mean, how did you were you able to be fiscally responsible during that period, or did you experience
in the early years? Like what
guess,
period you mean?
Let's talk about the Purple Rain period.
I did my best to save as much as I could from that era, and throughout my career, I did the best I could. It didn't mean I succeeded, but yeah.
What was your biggest initial first splurge that wasn't gear?
Oh, well, when I would go on tour, I didn't splurge on frivolous things. I really didn't. I mean, I didn't go after cars, really. I didn't go after I like clothing. I like fashion. I like getting like designer stuff. But I wasn't into
all night on the gig.
Yeah, but I wasn't into jewelry, or I was more into music gear, like keyboard gear and studio stuff. I was trying to put together my own little studio setup in my home back in the mid '80s and all that stuff.
Sure.
But when I would be on tour with Prince, like, and particularly in Europe on European tours, like the Parade tour, Purple Rain didn't really go to Europe. Prince should have gone to Europe and Australia and Japan, but he just elected not to. He just wanted to do the US and be done. So eventually we did get over to Europe and Japan. We never did Australia as the Revolution. He did that much later after we were done with the Revolution. But anyway, long story short, I would buy cool clothes, designer stuff. I would sometimes I'd spend $20K just for clothing in Europe or something. Oh no, I'd spend 10. I'd spend 10 because the other 10 was going to my first wife.
Oh, well. All right.
Yeah. She was buying clothes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I've lost the audio. Can you hear him?
Hello?
Chris, I can't hear you speaking.
Chris, did we lose you? Oh, we lost you, Chris. I've lost you as well. Yeah, we lost you.
Okay. Now
you're there. Now you're on.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. All right.
So yeah, I was a clothes hound.
That's all right then. Yeah. Good.
And you know what? You know what's really cool? I kept a lot of that stuff. I have it still.
Those
clothes, the clothes I bought, the designer
really
stuff, I still have it. If anyone's interested in some great 80s vintage like designer shit.
Well, that brings up a good conversation. That actually brings up a good conversation because you just recently had some auctions of whatnot that you had put not just all of these cassette tapes. I mean, I don't know how many cassette tapes were in this mix.
39.
And also the unreleased Rebels album.
Yep. That was my only cassette copy of that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't want to keep it. I digitized it. I still have a copy here, but I wanted to sell it because it's already out there. It's been bootlegged for years.
Yes.
But because it was my personal copy that they gave me at that studio, it made it kind of a significant artifact to be sold at auction, in my opinion. Because you know what? I looked at it this way. Either I was going to sell the stuff now, or my kids were going to be burdened with it later on. And I talked to them and they said, yeah, Dad, we don't want to mess with that stuff. I mean, you do it. You should do it now. And have it, sell that stuff and take the money that you kind of need to.
Do you think that it has to do more with the fact that you have a much better concept as to the value of what the stuff is, as opposed to, like, I'm always concerned, like, after I pass away, this shit's going to be like in Goodwill or something. And there's like some really expensive stuff that's but was there anything that when you did these auctions, you did a bunch, it wasn't just tapes, you also had keyboards and stuff. What were those keyboards used on that you had in that auction?
I only had one keyboard that I sold. Well, there was only one keyboard, and there was a MIDI keyboard, like it was just strictly a controller keyboard, which just doesn't produce any sound. That didn't sell. I didn't think it would, but they wanted to try and sell it. I mean, Prince played on it. He used it in the studio and stuff, and I did too. But you can't plug it in and hear anything out of it. It has to be connected with a MIDI cable to a rack-mounted synthesizer or something else to it triggers the sound from there. So it's just a dummy keyboard triggering something else. That's not that great of a collectible. People want guitars and stuff like that.
Man,
so, go ahead.
But when you're putting this auction together, is there anything that you were like, as you're getting these lots together, I guess that's what they call them, as lots, right? Was there anything you like held in your hand and considered and thought, nah, not that? Is there things that
No.
Everything was up for grabs. You were just.
Yep. Hey, I can't take it with me.
Yeah, that's true. You can't. It's funny that you say that, and I didn't even think about it or perceive it that way until Jesse Johnson had said that to me. He said that he was doing the same thing, that he literally was going to be selling all of his stuff. He's going to be selling his albums. I mean, the gold records and stuff, those things that he has, he was just going to just let it go. He's just like, what do I need it for? It's all here. What do I need it for? And it's just unusual to hear, you say the same thing, because I know so many people that are the exact opposite, where they really want to hold on to it. And these collectors that are really, really hardcore.
I'm not as materialistic as some people that way. I'm not, things like, I don't know. It's cool. They're flashy and show offy and stuff. And I had them here in the studio, and I kept some. I still have some gold records and things that I didn't sell. But the issue is it intimidates people sometimes. If you're a new artist and you're coming into my studio to work with me and you see all the gold records and stuff on the wall, it tends to intimidate them. And it's all, some have said that even. So then there's people who, because of what I did with Prince, there are people out there that think that I'm not accessible, or that I wouldn't be interested in working with them, or that I'm like ultra wealthy somewhere living in a mansion on a hill, fully retired. But no, that it's couldn't be further from the truth at this time. So, I'm about to go Social Security here. I just turned 67, but
congratulations.
Hopefully Elon won't take any of it away from me, for fucking God's sake. I mean,
I'm trying to take it all, Fink.
I don't get this at all. You know what? You're going to see a bunch of old geezers marching on Washington if they dare to touch our Social Security. Okay.
Yeah, I tell you, well, Michael and myself feel the same way. You feel that way now, about to enter into retirement. When we get there, we're just like, is anything going to
be there?
No, there will be no Social Security by the time I get.
Well, here's the thing. These guys, oh God, don't get me going on politics. No, okay. I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
What is there even to say? It is what it is until
it's craziness.
You know how I look at it, everybody? Think this thing. James Carville said, I mean, if you're on the Democrat side, said, just let it ride. Let them do what they're going to do. It's okay. We don't have, they don't have the power to do it. It's going to be what it's going to be. And, people start protesting and they get really bent out of shape. That could be a problem.
Yeah. Who is it that said insanity is rare in individuals, but in mobs, it's the rule, basically.
But at our age, it's like, I'm not going to go march anywhere. I'm not going to protest. I don't want to. I wanted to get I wanted to do the whole George Floyd marching and all that during COVID, and I thought I'll probably get killed, from COVID, because I'm old. I'll be out in the public even with a mask. It'll leak in and I'll die. I mean, it's
pick your battles.
I thought, no, I mean, I couldn't do it as much as I wanted to help.
Speaking of Purple Rain, this past last week, Wednesday, they did that release of the 8K scan of the negatives. And it was in Dolby Audio, whatever it was called, whatever version of Dolby it was. Did you get an opportunity to see that?
No.
Yeah, it was one night only. Michael, you didn't end up going either, did you?
How was it?
I think what's interesting about it is yes, it is an 8K scan of the negative, but still most movie theaters can only show in 4K as it is.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like visually there was anything that was
different from the original film, like not
well, no, different
similar?
from the 4K version that they showed at the celebration last year.
Yeah.
It was great. It was good.
Okay.
There was a couple things that I did catch, and I wanted to ask you about this because this is something that I saw that I had totally missed. At the end of the movie, during Baby I'm a Star, Prince, and I didn't notice it out of the 100 times I've seen this movie, has a Band-Aid on his pinky finger on the right. When they first show it really quickly, it looks like it's a kid's Band-Aid. It has like some type of pattern on it. But then like a little bit later, it's like a cloth, it's like a flesh-colored bandage. And matter of fact, I was able to find this little picture here and if you look really closely, he keeps his pinky underneath the microphone to hide the fact that he's wearing this bandage around his pinky. And I had never noticed that. And I literally was watching his pinky the first time I saw it. I was like, I'm really surprised that this is, I'll see if I can pull it up. I'll see if I can pull it up bigger. But I was wondering, do you remember if he cut his finger or something happened during that performance or?
Nope. Never noticed it even.
I'm going to see if I can pull up that same picture and like blow it up really, really big and see. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's a short answer to that question. Yeah. So let me see if I can pull that up and maybe possibly share it. What are some, anything that you specifically remember? I already pulled it up. Hold on. But this is not really a high resolution photo, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. Let's see if we can pull this up. Is this it? This is it here. All right. So I'm going to try to make this as big as possible. So I got to scroll down.
Oh, hey, what's going on, Corey Eischen? Happy birthday, man. I just said happy birthday to Corey Eischen.
It's Corey's birthday today?
I think it was today. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't on Facebook today at all. I've been working in the studio all day long.
I started the day by wishing him a happy birthday on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a little bit of a lower resolution, but you can see that pinky is bigger. It's because there's a Band-Aid on it. There's a flesh colored bandage that is on his pinky that's underneath.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And you said you saw another Band-Aid on that same finger, but it was a different Band-Aid in a different shot of the same scene?
It was Baby I'm a Star, and it looked like it was like patterned or something.
Wait a minute.
So it's a different Band-Aid. So it might be a different Band-Aid on his finger because the continuity of the scene wasn't. He came back and did another scene after he changed the Band-Aid or another camera angle, maybe.
This looks like it's from like Beautiful Ones from like the outro.
Nope.
What is this from?
Baby I'm a Star.
It is. Baby I'm a Star. Yeah.
All right. Hey,
end of the movie. End of the movie. Go ahead.
I noticed something the other day. So, Mr. Christopher, you saw this new version or you did not?
I did. I saw it Wednesday night.
So tell me something. Well, first off, I noticed a long time ago on TV, they took out that line, "You long-haired,"
F word, right?
And I was like, okay, I see. They're starting to. It's starting to wear differently on society. And the other thing I noticed the other night, I was laying in bed with my wife and it came on. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this, and I started talking to her about the scene where Prince is hanging from the ceiling of the basement.
Yes.
And I used to ask him questions sometimes, and sometimes he looked like he really didn't want to oblige me, but he would anyway. So I was like, Prince, I have kind of it might be a dumb question. I'm like, how did they do that? How did they, make it look like you were hanging from the ceiling? And he said, no, that's not a dumb question at all. Actually, the rope that's around my neck isn't the one I'm actually being suspended by. He said there was another rope around my waist, and it was out of the view of the camera. So he was actually his body weight was suspended by the rope around his waist. And then I'm like, here it comes. And they don't show it. It's out of the movie. Like there was just like a flash, like a bling. And then he starts tearing everything up. Like they took that scene out.
Yeah. it's still in the movie, but it is a flash. It literally is like it's not even a second. It's just
like I thought I saw it, but then I thought, like, where did it go? What happened? All right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a flash. It's right before as he's kind of looking both sides and he's like, hyperventilating. Yeah, and it's just like a quick thing. But the purple hair, you long haired.
Yeah.
Rabbit rhymes with rabbit. Basically, that's still in there. They kept that. Yeah, really? So I was looking for the same thing. I was looking for what are they going to take out? Where are we? But they left it all in there. Well, as I don't know, Fink, if you are aware of this, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But the original script was much, much darker than what ended up on the screen. Do you remember reading that script, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was darker, but I don't remember the details anymore. By the way, my original copy of that first script was sold at auction.
Okay,
that was sold in the auction.
Oh,
the script.
How much did you get for it?
I don't remember.
That's just
I'd have to go look at the list. I have to go look at the list.
I sold my Graffiti Bridge script.
See, look at you. You sold something already.
About $28.50, I think I got for it.
You mean $48?
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
I don't remember.
Oh my.
Okay. Hey, you want this? Yeah.
So. Jesse said, Jesse Johnson, he said that we were talking about Purple Rain. I never remember what he says online and what's on the phone, but he was talking about Purple Rain, and he was like, I was ticked off because I didn't get an opportunity to get my SAG card because I didn't have a line in that movie. Oh. And I was listening the whole movie, watching it last Wednesday, and he does have a line, and it's not said with a bunch of other people talking. He's the only one talking. And they're walking down the hallway. It's right before that part where they go, let's get crazy. Let's get nuts. Yeah. Right before they do that, Jesse turns to Jerome and goes, I'm going to get 2 Cadillacs, JB. and I said, I literally, as soon as I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of this movie. As soon as I got out of the movie, I texted him. I said, go get your SAG card.
Yeah. Wow. Did he not remember? Was that a line in the script that he had to say, or did he make that up?
It was probably, I don't know. That was my other question is like, does it have to be in the script?
I bet.
Does it have, because it's in the film. He says it, and there's not like a bunch of other people talking. It's like literally
that might have been in the script, or else they ad-libbed it for the scene. You never know.
But you hear him say something, you ain't even sweating. You ain't even sweating. On the way back with Morris.
Yeah.
You ain't even sweating.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are cross talking, and there's a lot of like dialogue, kind of like
in the hallway. Yeah,
but in that one, when he says that, I was listening very, very closely. Okay. There's nobody else talking over him. Did you get your SAG card for your line?
Oh yeah.
And have you put that to use? Have you done any other films?
No, but I was in a local thing back in 2014. I did a cameo in a locally produced film, which showed at some theater in Uptown, and I went and saw it, and it was weird. It was a weird film, weird plot, weird just in general. And I had this weird scene in a dark bar, sitting at a table talking with these 2 guys about something. I don't even remember what I did. I'd have to go back. It was a weird thing. That's all I can tell you. I don't even remember the title of the film now.
It just gets that way, Fink. People walk up on me talking about all sorts of stuff. I don't recall it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's just like that. You've lived about 6-7 lifetimes, Fink. You can't be held accountable for all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a lot. Speaking of which, here's another lifetime. At one point in time, you had a recording studio called the Operating Room. You were recording loops for Sony, and you had Dr. Fink's Funk Factory, and then there was another one, Matt Fink's, what was it, Starview Session Keys. Have you ever considered recording any more of these or doing any more of these?
Yeah, but But that was for Acid Loops software, which is kind of defunct now. That's a long time ago.
It's a shame. It's such a great software.
2000. Is it still active? I can't remember. Is it gone?
Yeah, it is.
2008. Okay.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was good for people who weren't necessarily musicians, and musicians alike could use it, but they could create stuff from loops and different stuff you create. But regardless of that, yeah, I've had offers to do libraries for Splice, which is this service that artists use. I've thought of doing a Splice library. I haven't gotten around to it because
what's Splice?
It's a sample library that you have a subscription to, and you can grab drum loops and keyboard parts and vocal lines with real singers. It's a huge library. It's massive, with loops and parts and things that people can incorporate into their music, so to speak. So yeah, I've thought about it, but haven't gotten around to it.
So here's gonna be a loaded question.
I'm kind of busy right now, but go ahead.
Well, yeah. What are you doing right now? Let's see somebody asking that right now.
What's Matt Fink doing these days? Right.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Well, I'm currently working with a new company, actually, and they're developing an artist portal that will provide services to artists in the way of promoting their music, selling their merch, catering to their mental health needs, security issues at venues. Boy, I'd have to it's so new. I'm just getting involved in this, and
is it anything to do with the My Music thing that you were doing before, or is that?
No, this is a whole another group people.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I mean, and I think that's something that is desperately needed, especially for musicians right now. I think it's, Michael, you and I have talked about this, that, when you try to go out and you go do tours and stuff, and, it's such a struggle to get people to come out to your shows or to let people know about your shows, because it's just, the internet's just saturated. It's just to get the word out effectively and make sure that it's going to hit all the people that you want to be able to come to the show. I mean, there's been plenty of times where, somebody will tell me, "Oh, I just saw so-and-so in concert last night." I'm like, "They were in town? How? I totally missed that." But so, yeah, a service like that would be good.
So I have the overview of this new company. It's literally new. I mean, I'm just on the ground floor of this. It's a startup. I'm involved. I'm working with the heads of the company right now. I'm a consultant. And the issue, too, is that they're artists. They're people working here are also musicians. And so I've been working on their projects as well, playing keyboards and helping produce some stuff with them. So they have a label. And so I'll just read what this platform is going to do. It's called, the title says, All Things Creative, an all-encompassing platform empowering creatives through educational resources, wellness support, and commerce opportunities. And then in parentheses, vision, entrepreneurship, education, business, and artist sales. And this is a very big endeavor, in my opinion, but I think it's going to be pretty cool going forward.
What's going to be your involvement in it?
Well, I'm going to be more of a sales kind of promotional spokesperson for the platform, and I'll also be a teacher, because it's going to be AI assisted, and there's going to be AI assistance on this platform with developing actual curriculum for artists, people who are developing their talent. They can take classes and have AI assisted classrooms. But
Very cool.
it's pretty. I mean, it would take you a while to go through this deck I have in front of me. I mean, it's a quite a bit. It's like here.
Well, when it's ready to be, promoted or, or needing assistance, please let us know. I mean, we have plenty of musicians and artists that are part of this community. They would love to hear about it, I'm sure.
Oh, most definitely. I plan to do quite a bit of promotion for this once it's up and running, which hopefully will be soon, this year. They've already got everything developed for this. It's pretty much really close to being ready to go. It just, but the portal, it'll have comprehensive learning resources. tailored wellness and mental health support, streaming, commerce, and data platform, which empowers your creatives to be able to showcase, sell, and monetize their products and services through an intuitive, user-friendly platform, and it enables them to achieve financial autonomy and reach a wider audience as well. Curated directory of products and services, virtual and physical access. So there's a lot here, and there's another aspect to this company which will be involved with esports as well, in teaching esports and developing an esports facility. Actually, there's going to be a big facility built in Illinois based around esports and entertainment. There'll be music there, performances, theatrical work, and full-on esports gaming and teaching facility.
Somebody's asking, what is the name of the startup?
Well, the portal is so far has a name called VBAS, VEEBASS, which means Vision, Entrepreneurship, Education, Business, Artists, and Sales.
Okay. Yes.
So that's short for, so VBAS is the acronym for that. And so VBAS aims to empower creatives by providing the tools, resources, and opportunities to thrive in their personal and professional lives.
That's quite an undertaking. That to-do list is quite. I mean, even a few of those things is a lot. So, woof, it's a lot. We have about 6 questions here that I've kind of been starring.
Okay.
So these people
can we get this Voss Christian guy about Roadhouse Garden? Because
he's one of them. He's one of them.
What Fink has to say about it?
We can start there. So I've been starring questions as as we've kind of been going. So this is one here. Voss Christian says, "Hey Jen, sorry to repeat myself. May I ask Dr. Fink about the Roadhouse Garden album and what the story was with that?"
Well, that's just another Prince album that got shelved, and they've released parts of it in dribs and drabs now, I think, on special compilation records. Like when the big box set for Purple Rain came out, I think they put a few of the tracks on there.
So you dropped off.
What's that? Say that again?
We lost you for a second.
Me?
But you came back. It was like you were gone and then back.
Did you get all the audio, or do I have to repeat anything?
No, it was just maybe 3 seconds of audio with that we lost.
Okay,
so it's fine.
Okay. Well, basically, that album got shelved because it was right around the time that Prince decided to disband the Revolution, and so it was a great album. Didn't participate a lot on that record. A little. I was brought in to do a little bit of session work, but at that time, I was embroiled in my first marriage. I was a newlywed at the time, and I was kind of busy, and then that was that. But they did that record, and then it never saw the light of day.
Well, because The Flesh was supposed to be the album that was released that would have been the Revolution's next album, and that was when I guess things kind of got separated out onto the Black Album and Sign of the Times and something else.
I was never privy to any of his machinations of album content and what he was doing at that time. Completely oblivious, other than what he'd show up and go, "Here's the cassette, go learn the songs. If I didn't play on it, here you go. Here's a new album, go learn that."
Really?
So,
it's just cut and dried. No
charts, nothing. I made my own charts so I could keep track of stuff at rehearsal, and then I'd memorize it, but I'd create my own chord charts for arrangement charts, so I could.
Was there a system to the way you and Lisa separated parts?
Yeah, we just discuss what we wanted to play and who you want to take that. Oh, I'll take that. You take. Sometimes Prince would actually orchestrate that too.
Yeah, because Chad asked him why Lisa switched spots on "I Would Die for You" and "Baby I'm a Star" on the Purple Rain tour. I was always curious
because she had to play piano on that one, and the piano was on the other side from where she usually was. I mean, I was usually on that side of the stage for most of the show, and then we switched towards at the end, so she can be on piano there.
Oh, I got you. So yeah,
Mhm.
okay, you switched just for her on that one song.
To be on piano, yep.
Got it.
I think we may have asked this. Charlotte says, "How did Fink meet Prince?" This is obviously going towards. We're definitely going out of time order here, but
Yeah.
it is. I don't know that we. You said you hooked up with Prince, but how? What was that first meeting like, and getting in the door and all that?
The first meeting was my actual audition for the band.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd never met him prior to that.
And what do you remember what you had to play when you showed up for that?
Yeah. I had to play Soft and Wet and Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad.
Awesome.
Oh no, or was Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad the second album?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Just As Long As We're Together.
Oh, yeah,
First
man.
album. So I had to come in and play those songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like you had to program the patches, or he had something up for you to play?
He had everything there ready to go. He had all his keyboard rigs ready to go. I didn't even bring a keyboard in for this. They said, you don't need to bring a keyboard. We have all the keyboards here.
Man, all right, Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was already well funded by Warner Brothers. They'd gone out and bought all the gear they needed at that time.
See, I got the impression that when he got his advance or whatever, that he spent he was very smart with his money. I remember Doug Nelson, bass player, said that he saw Prince driving around in like a new little Toyota hatchback, or something.
It was a Datsun. It was a Datsun.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, okay. It was like big enough for like his gear, and but he was sensible. He didn't
yeah. Well,
blow it. He spent it on.
He was smart.
Yeah,
he was smart, but oh, excuse me. In those early years, he was literally writing the checks weekly to the band for rehearsal before we even toured or played live. Those first 2 months I was in the band, he had a checkbook. He would write the check we were rehearsing in Peppy Willie's basement, and he'd write those checks to each band member.
Wow.
Once a week.
That's all right. That's
little rehearsal checks to keep us afloat. Well, I was still living at my parents'.
Yeah, I was too when I joined the band.
Sure.
I was going to Augsburg.
There you go. College. Nice. That's a good place.
Yeah. I learned a lot.
Shadow asks, please ask Matt about his doctor persona and how he acquired the name.
Oh, okay.
We've heard this story, but there's some new folks out there who haven't heard it.
There are people that still haven't heard this story. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, if you have been listening the whole time, you noticed that we opened for Rick James in early 1980, and it was on that tour that I became the doctor because Rick James was wearing the same outfit that I had on stage for one of the songs that he was performing on his tour, which was a song called "Bustin' Out of L7."
Oh yes.
And so he would come on stage for that one song, and he'd have a black and white striped jailer's bird outfit. And of course, that was my look at the time. If you go back on YouTube, go watch if you haven't seen it already, go watch the American Bandstand debut television performance by Prince.
Yeah.
And I was wearing the jail suit. And
I thought you just had like a striped shirt on.
No.
Okay. It went all the way to the floor. All right.
No, the pants and the thing was a full-on jailer's outfit. Black and white.
Well, did you have was there a ball and chain hanging up?
No.
All right. I wondered how far you took it, man. I couldn't see.
No, I didn't go that far.
All right.
But okay, so that was that. So by the time we got on with Rick James later that year, after debuting on American Bandstand, we were about 3 shows into the tour, and Prince comes to me before the 3rd show, and he goes, "I'm sorry to say you're going to have to change your look because Rick James is wearing a jail suit on that one song." And I go, "Oh, really? Did he come to you and request that I change my look?" He goes, "No." I go, "Well, then why are you making me change my look?" "Because he's the headliner and he's wearing your outfit on that song, and I don't want you to be wearing the same outfit that he wears in a song." And I went, "Okay." that doesn't make any sense to me, I said in my brain, but I said, okay.
And how'd you settle on that?
Well, he says to me, he goes, did you have any other thoughts before you picked the jail suit? Did you have any other ideas previous to this of looks? I go, well, what about the one look you gave me to do the very first show we ever did at the Capri Theater in January of 1979? And he goes, do you mean that paratrooper authentic khaki jumpsuit I gave you that didn't fit me? I couldn't wear it, so I gave it to you. I go, yeah, that one. He goes, nope, that's too boring and bland. No, you don't wear that. I go, well, what about my other suit that I had made, that really cool gold tuxedo with the black lapels with the tux and whole thing and the vest? Nah, that's too Elton Johnny.
Yeah.
Too Elton. Yeah, it's too
Elton
that's
Johnny.
cheesy. Too
Elton
cheesy.
Johnny.
Yeah. I go, okay. He goes, any other thoughts? I go, well, I thought about a guy in a doctor's suit, scrub suit, but because it was a powder blue scrub suit, I thought it was too bland and doctory. It's kind of boring. It's not flashy enough for stage. So I dropped that idea. He goes, no, wait a minute. Doctor suit? What if you became like a whole doctor and we made you look like a surgeon or something? And I go, what do you mean? Well, we'll get you all like a stethoscope and stuff. I go, I don't know. Let's try that. I go, okay.
Yeah.
So that day they went out and got all my stuff at a uniform doctor. You could go to those places to get scrub suits and doctor, accoutrement. And they brought me a stethoscope, surgeon's cap that they wear for sterilization to keep the hair out of the patient's, incision. They had the little mirror thing here for reflecting the light into the body cavity. And then I had my bug eye glasses, which I was already wearing with the jail suits. I had the glasses, the wraparound, and then the mask, of course, on the face, which Prince insisted I wear the mask on stage right away. And so I went, that's uncomfortable. It's making my glasses steam up.
And underneath those lights.
I can't see anything on the first song. As soon as I'm breathing, it's going up in the mask, it's going into my glasses.
Yeah.
He goes, well, you take it off after the first song. I go, yeah, but I can't see what I'm doing. He said, just pretend you're Stevie Wonder.
That was
No, he didn't say that. I'm joking. I'm joking. These are jokes. Sorry, he didn't say that.
Oh, Lord.
You know what the keys are.
That's terrible.
Listen, I know Fink's winding down. Fink wants to go, but I got to ask you a question, Fink.
Yeah.
Before we continue.
Okay.
You ever have anybody like get in your face, like all high and mighty about like working with one of the most lascivious artists in history? Anybody ever give you like real, real lip service about working for Prince?
No.
Never anybody challenge you, in a
challenge me in what way? What do you mean? Like, for example,
on matters of the spirit, whether or not you were being sacrilegious, whether it was blasphemous, what you guys were doing.
Back in the day, in the early years when
a lot of people left over apparently over religious reasons.
Nobody came to me and complained or said anything like, hey, are you concerned about the overt sexuality that he's presenting in here? And I said, well, some people did ask that.
Okay.
And so, but they didn't like berate me over it. They did ask if I was concerned. And I said yes. And I expressed my concerns to Prince too. And then after talking to him, I realized that it shouldn't be a concern. Sure. Because there were other artists before him that were breaking ground like that anyway before. And so I went with it.
Right on. Okay. I just wondered.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I personally, I'm a rebel at heart. I'm just one of the all-time rebels. Just ask my parents, or well, they're not here. They can't say. But
can we ask your kids?
My kids, they don't. They haven't really seen my rebellious side. Yeah, but regardless of that. Oh, speaking of kids, my son Maxwell, who's also about to debut his latest EP in Minneapolis Thursday night.
What? Nice.
Yeah. Thursday
Where's
night.
That
at? That's going to be at it's called the Central station up on Central Avenue, North Minneapolis. It's like, let me get the address.
Oh, I know where that is.
It's a kind of a newer joint. Hold on a second. It's called it's the Central Station, 4030 Central Avenue, Northeast Minneapolis. If you're in Minneapolis and you want to catch my son's doing a track show, his artist name is Max Millie. You can catch him on SoundCloud, and it's MVXMILLI is how he spells his stage name.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's had music out for quite a while, and but this is his latest thing that he's putting out and performing. He was performing out in LA regularly when he lived there up until late 2023. He moved back to Minneapolis after 8.5 years out there.
I see. How did you like it?
How did he like LA?
Yeah.
He loved it out there. He's been, he'll probably go back eventually, but he had to come back here for a while. He had a relationship there that was not good.
Right on.
It's how it is when you're with women sometimes. Things can be funny.
Yeah. Things can be funny.
Ha ha.
Well, I was, look, a lot of people know I was married once before. Thank God I found the right woman in my life, and that was it. But it happens.
Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes you find the right one, man. Yeah.
Hey, I know. I have people like married 4 times. I know people 3-4 times. Donald Trump. Okay, sorry.
I have a couple questions before I let you go. I know there's some other questions here, but we can't keep them all night.
Sure.
But so I do have a question
about. It's
almost
past my bedtime. I'm old. Okay.
You need to hurry this.
Go ahead.
Yes, the new tour was the last time I think Fink and I were on stage together. It's possible, but no, it is. It was at the Caboose with Phil Solem and John Fields.
Well, yeah, we've done some little gigs here and there post Prince.
Yeah, there was a Prince tribute at the Caboose a different night.
Yeah, we've done some other shows.
We've been Fink and I have been friendly ever since like 1989. I think.
Yeah, sure. Post Prince.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to see all of us together on April 19th at the Hopkins Center for the Arts. So don't miss that.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be what's cool about this is I've never shared the stage with Tommy Barbarella before.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to that. He's an amazing keyboardist. And all the other people there. Levi Caesar, I used to work with Levi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of people there. And you got everybody. Remember, I was in the MPG for 4 years. I was in the first iteration of the MPG after the revolution. So, yeah. A
lot of people were talking about that too. There was some questions that surrounded that as far as your relation with the revolution. But this can kind of spiral off into the question that I was going to ask you was about last year. Paisley Park, the estate, whatever, did Celebration 2024 that was Purple Rain focused. You guys did the panel there. You did the show in at First Avenue Friday and Saturday. Before I ask this question though, I do want to find out about this. You guys had already had First Avenue booked on Friday and Saturday, correct? And then the estate just kind of latched themselves onto the Friday night. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
So now we've got 2025 celebration that they've indicated is going to be Purple Rain 2.0. Have you guys, as the Revolution, been approached at all about any participation in this new celebration that's happening in June? 3 months from now, March?
No.
June?
No. There's been no talk of anything yet.
We are 3 months out.
Yep.
March, April, May, June. We're 3 months out. Okay, that's that question. But I don't know what to think about that. I assume that they can't do Purple Rain 2.0 unless the Revolution or somebody's involved somehow, or maybe they can. I don't know.
They can do it. They can do whatever they want. Really,
right? Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you want to see, they've already talked about, if you want to see them play, specifically Michael Bland and the mighty Dr. Fink, I I will actually. That's
right.
But there's right there.
Don't lose Fink. Don't lose him yet.
No, we're not losing him.
Yeah, okay.
They got the Together event.
Am I back? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you're back. The Together event. It's happening Saturday, April 19th. As I said, these two fine gentlemen will be on the stage together. I will be there also, but not on stage. I'll be down there watching with you guys. But I will be there as well. But this is a get together with the New Power Generation members, Tommy Barbarella, Michael Bland, Levi Caesar Jr., the Honorable Dr. Fink of the Revolution, of course, Homer Odell and Rick Kinchin, G Sharp, JB, Ashley Commodore, and the UC Horns, all happening in Hopkins, Minnesota, April 19th, which is a Saturday. And after this event, if you want to get tickets to this, funkatopia.com/NPG. Easy enough. Just go to funkatopia.com/NPG. It takes you right to the ticket window for this. There's no, it's not an affiliate link. We don't get kickbacks. We just want you guys to go to the show. Also, after this event, the after party that's happening, DJ Dudley D is having an event at, I don't know, I can't remember the name of the venue, but it is, there's a $30 dance party that's happening with DJ Dudley D. And then on top of that, if you want to make a weekend of it, a 3-day weekend, Monday is the 9-year anniversary of Prince's transition off of this mortal coil. Mm-hmm. So if you guys want to be down there in the motherland on the 9-year anniversary, he passed away on the 21st. So you could pretty much make a 3-day weekend of it if you really want to spend some time just kind of absorbing the music of Prince, hanging out with Purple Family, and just, continuing to kind of push forward that legacy. And hopefully some really, really positive vibes will happen on this weekend. So you guys need to do this though. Funkatopia.com/NPG. Get your tickets and see Mr. Matt Fink here and Michael Bland and all those fine folks from the NPG. It's going to be an amazing, amazing show. And of course, make sure you also check out Dr. Fink's son's release of his debut album that's going to be coming soon. What was it again? MVX. It's Max, but that's what they always do. They kind of
MVX, VX, MILLI, Max Millie.
There you go.
Does he play keys at also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He produces and writes all his stuff. I mean, he's like he's doing a lot of really cool EDM music these days, and pop stuff and indie pop, and the stuff he did a few years ago was totally in the pop hip hop Post Malone space, very much in that vein.
Very cool.
And he had a label deal. He was with a record label, and so he's very good. I'm not just saying that because I'm his dad, either. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
I'm gonna check it out. At least we're going to have some folks check it out. I've already got it written down. I'm going to check it out.
And of course, my other son is in the education business.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
we need
educational materials and stuff like that.
Yes, man, we need that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause for the one, the only Matt, Dr. Fink. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out.
How about that, Fink?
And I can guarantee you heard stories here tonight that he has not told on interviews before.
I know I can squeeze.
Right? I'm sorry. What? Go ahead. Say that again.
I said. I guarantee you've heard stories tonight that you have not heard in previous interviews. I'm positive of it.
My stories, you mean? My stories? Good. I was just doing the post dance, the special. Yeah. YMCA. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh, I thought that was that looked like the Trump. I thought you were doing the Trump dance. I guess
I was.
The Trump dance. Oh, you're not doing it right. You got to get.
Oh, it's this way. You got to go like. Oh, the hands go like this.
Yeah, like right. Yes, like you're.
That's right. I keep forgetting
like it's not
something
this else. I can see.
I was milking. I was milking the cow instead of the two guys.
You got to milk something else.
Instead of the two guys. The two guys. Okay.
Those two guys are. Come on now, don't leave them lonely now.
Oh, sorry.
Give them a hand there, Fink.
Okay.
Give them a hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Dr. Fink, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
I'm Slappy White all of a sudden.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. We'll see you in April.
Yeah.
Take care. Good night.
Take care. Good night. Good night. Good night.